your TV sounds funny in the evening, you're watching live from Studio 6B on Real America's Voice.
All right, a Friday night at the America First Warehouse, live from Studio 6B on Real America's Voice and across the country, of course, the mothership. And on 103.9 LI News Radio all over Long Island, New York. Glad you're in, everybody, on a Friday night. We are excited to be back. Joe the Box, of course, and all the great staff here at the America First Warehouse, always so welcoming. We are happy to be here. The boys are almost all here, except for one. That would be one Mr. Slick Rick, who continues on his, well, Prince, I don't know what we call it.
The
escapade.
Yes, the escapade,
yes.
known as the Purple Prince Phantasm, whatever he does every year this time. He goes away for a week,
who
and he
knows
comes
what
back.
he's doing.
I'm just glad it's not Manilow, I think, for Sir Slick.
Yeah, well,
if we went to a Manilow festival, I'd be very worried.
Yeah, it's all Prince, all purple all the time. So Slick will be back next Friday. But as you just heard, Vinnie Mac is here. He's going to do some news. Vinnie Mac, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Had a busy day, very personal day. But I was reflecting today on the 81st anniversary of D-Day.
Yes.
My dad was, talked about this all the time. So it just sort of reminded me of my dad. And speaking of USA, we have people here that really sacrificed for our country. You can't forget D-Day. You know, we would not be here without those guys who, by the way, knew their days were numbered coming out there. Some of the bravest men I think we've ever had in our country that knew they were going to die. So salute to them.
Yeah.
Can't help but think about it. You see Saving Private Ryan?
Imagine being on that U-boat.
Nope.
No. Well, Saving Private Ryan should be required viewing for every high school in the country. That opening half hour is as intense as anything I've ever seen in my life. You feel like you're there, and they don't understand with the reality of it.
Yeah. Well, Vinnie Mac will have some news and some thoughts on a lot of stuff going on. Rick Delgato's here. He's got some headlines as well. The greatest headlines in the world, of course, as he tells us. How are you?
I am good. For a second, when the show started, I thought we were. I was transported back to Arsenio for a second. Everybody go, ooh, 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 ooh.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah, Joe the Box leading the charge, as always.
Exactly.
I did not know that.
Waving the flag right behind you.
Yeah, there he is. Kevin Downey Jr. is here, the host of the Kevin Downey Jr. Show.
What?
Right here on 103.9 LI News Radio, Monday through Friday.
Never heard of it.
When'd you get a radio show?
Didn't know you had a radio show, Kev. 9 to 11, Monday through Friday. How are you?
I'm lovely, thank you. You know what? We're talking about D-Day. In 1994, a very old gentleman who worked at the office I worked at came in, and we never paid much attention to him. He was just this guy who would come in, he'd take a package, and he'd leave.
Yeah.
And one day he comes in with a big medal, and someone says, "Marty, what is that?" And in this probably long-gone accent from the Bronx, he says, "Oh, the French gave it to me." And we said, "For what?" He goes, I lived on D-Day. And he told a story about being 18 years old. And they kept saying, "Don't look over the landing craft. Don't look." And he heard so many boom, boom, boom. And he said, "I had to look." And he says, "I saw a cow in a tree. And I thought, cows don't fly. This is going to be bad."
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very modest guys, right?
Yes, absolutely. And he sort of got a little choked up, and we applauded him, and that was that. But he was in the second wave, I believe.
That's amazing.
And survived, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Kevin Downey Jr. will have some news as well. And also with news is Mr. Paul Nolan sits right here to my left. Mr. Nolan, how are you?
I am well, Big D.
How
What
was
a
your
crowd.
day?
The most patriotic place in the world, in this crowd with the USA chant starting. That was very exciting. It was, really, it's just so nice to see so many people still love this country despite, all the efforts to subvert it.
What we talked about for a half an hour before we came out.
Yeah,
yeah.
without a doubt.
Which maybe we'll get into tonight as well. There's lots of places to start. So all the guys will have news and their take on what's going on. Obviously, we're here live at the America First Warehouse. But I just wanted to kind of start by, I wonder if anyone has checked in with Chris Van Hollen tonight to see if the dinner reservation for 2 has been canceled. And I wonder where he made it, because I want to thank Chris Van Hollen and all the Democrats, their attorneys. They died on the Hill of Kilmar Abrego, had to come back to the U.S., and guess what? They got their wish.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now he's going to come back, and he's going to go to a federal detention center in Tennessee. He's going to get convicted of human trafficking, it sounds like. He's going to get a federal prison sentence, and he's either going to spend it somewhere here, or he's going to get deported back to El Salvador, and he's 100% definitely going to go to CSOT. So, I mean, good job done by all here.
The ultimate justice would be he ends up spending 7 life sentences in like the worst in Leavenworth, like send him out to
Well, the thing is, I thought about this, the irony of this, I'm waiting for someone in the Democrat Party to now flip this somehow and go, wait a minute, after they've died on this hill that this guy is just the Maryland father and nothing and he's just fine. And they said, okay, he needs due process. Okay, well, guess what? He's going to now get it because now we've built a case based on the evidence that we've had and knew about, and we'll take our shot here with due process.
And he's probably feeling like, hey, this is pretty awesome. Like, I got senators flying down. I'm well connected. I'm going to get out of this. I'm a dude here. I've got all these connections now, and he gets flown back, grand jury, and toasted.
And all the taxpayers do. Meanwhile, a Zoom call could have covered due process. Been 3-minute phone call. All right, stay there. It's over.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's amazing. It's amazing because Van Hollen did try and flip it, Damon. I don't know if you saw.
No.
He's trying to say, well, it was never about just this man. It was about the process. It was about, getting justice and making sure due process and all that. He's trying to change the fact that he royally screwed himself badly. And I think a lot of Democrats, because guess what? He's back, just what you wanted. And guess what? For the months and months that the Democrats have been screaming about getting this guy back, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it nice and hard. And what'd they get? Well, let's see. Let's run through because after Attorney Pam Bondi announced that he's back, he's going to face justice. But the Democrats didn't want him to face justice. They just wanted him back. Just to throw it in Trump's face, to kind of smush him like Macron's husband smushed him, right?
Macron.
And that's what they wanted. They just wanted to try to embarrass Trump. But what'd they get? Well, this is the ultimate win for us because the Trump team said, okay, you want him? Let's go get him. Let's make sure he's fully charged when he gets here. So there you have. Dems, you wanted your MS-13 gang member? There he is. You wanted your human smuggler? There he is. You want your wife beater? There he is. And that's what they got.
Scratching the surface on this guy.
Exactly.
There was some senator in the late 80s who said these child factories in Myanmar are bad, so we have to shut all this down. So they did. They said we're not taking any products from Myanmar if they have a child labor. And they were so proud of themselves that they sent Greenpeace back a year and a half later, and they'd all turned to prostitution. Wow. And the Democrats were patting themselves on the back.
That's a good family story.
The Democrats
Glad the kids are here for that.
Yeah.
Feels good. Feels good, doesn't it?
Here's the Attorney General unsealing this today.
Abrego Garcia has landed in the United States to face justice. On May 21st, a grand jury in the Middle District of Tennessee returned a sealed indictment charging Abrego Garcia with alien smuggling and conspiracy to commit alien smuggling in violation of Title 8 U.S.C. 1324. We want to thank President Bukele for agreeing to return Abrego Garcia to the United States. Our government presented El Salvador with an arrest warrant, and they agreed to return him to our country. We're grateful to President Bukele for agreeing to return him to our country to face these very serious charges. This is what American justice looks like. Upon completion of his sentence, we anticipate he will be returned to his home country of El Salvador. The grand jury found that over the past 9 years, Abrego Garcia has played a significant role in an alien smuggling ring.
Not those
They
aliens.
found this was his full-time job, not a contractor.
Whoops.
He was a smuggler of humans and children and women. He made over 100 trips, the grand jury found, smuggling people throughout our country. MS-13 members, violent gang terrorist organization members throughout our country.
There you go.
There you got it.
And of course, we all saw the video.
Yeah.
Even before the Democrats decided this was one of the hills they want. This is one of the 595 issues that they were going to be in the 5% of. We saw the video of him with like 11 people in his car. That wasn't enough of a hint to say, maybe we don't want to get ahead of our skis on this guy and actually really find out.
No luggage either.
Yeah,
no luggage, not even a checked bag.
It wasn't like he was transporting the clowns to the next circus. You know, they had them all stuffed in there, and then they pull up and jump out and be like, "Woo, look at us!" It was nothing like that. He's a human trafficker. Oh, and just to throw in case you didn't hear, he also solicited for child porn. So they got him on that too. It's a wonderful menu of stuff that this guy. I guess the Democrats are very proud of him. He's back now. I guess they're clinking their margarita glasses together in celebration that, what is his name? Kilmar Abrego Garcia is now going to be formally charged in the United States on federal crimes. That's awesome. Good job, Dems.
Yes, good job done by all there. So a couple other quick headlines I saw because we've talked about this stuff on the show before. Records today reveal Stacy Abrams funneled $20.2 million from her nonprofit to her lawyer friend who helped set up her private business. Remember when we talked about this? And this business went from literally $5 in the bank to all of a sudden like $2 billion.
$2 billion.
Over some green scam deal?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like 20 million of it came from her nonprofit to some lawyer friend of hers who helped actually set the business up, we find out tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing that what Elon Musk is given, accolades or a hard time by the left or accolades by the right. The reality is what he did in uncovering this stuff, uncovering all of that graft, all that illegal stuff, all the self-dealing, all of these fake NGOs. I mean, I thought there was bad stuff happening. But when you see the totality of these NGOs, and then she got that money like right after Trump was elected, like it was like wired to her. She had $100 in the bank, by the way, for her NGO. It's beyond obvious, but whatever anybody thinks of Elon Musk and anything that's going on now, what that guy uncovered there saves our government in a sense by picking off these people like Stacy Abrams. They should all be in jail, and hopefully they will be.
That's the question, right? The question is, we've kind of known this. We've talked about it on the show. What is someone waiting for her to either get? I mean, why is she still out there? And she's not being approached.
Because
she's being questioned.
Everybody's connected to these NGOs, and there's no transparency in them. And if Congress was serious, they would create laws that make every single NGO fully transparent. But they won't do it because everybody's got their hand in the cookie jar for the most part, with the exception, I would say,
I agree
of
with
guys
that.
like Rand Paul and Massey and a handful of others. I just think, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think she's a warrior. I can't picture her doing any of that stuff.
Well, but that's the thing. You flip it and you put any one of those names, Marjorie Taylor Greene or anybody else, you flipped it, it was one of them. They would have been arrested by now from a Biden DOJ. Right? And I'm not saying just go do it for the sake of doing it, but like, do they have the goods or not on her? And if they do, what are they waiting for?
Yeah, that's a great question, especially when it comes to Stacey Abrams.
All right, just getting started live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday night. We'll do news with all the boys. We may even do some sports in honor of Slick Rick. Lots to talk about live. Real America's Voice, live from Studio 6B. We're back right after this.
A little more wide?
Okay.
Come closer.
Yeah, he was done. Well, did he have like a time?
I don't know. I think they were told about it. If he gets convicted, they would put him in federal jail here. But she said in that they'll send him back to El Salvador.
Or maybe he does time here and there.
I think he should be the first person to reopen.
Yes. That'd be hilarious.
That would be hilarious. Did you see any of the local stories? You following what's going on with Massapequa and losing their name, and Trump.
Yeah, Trump, yeah.
So now Wantagh is next in line, Wantagh Warriors.
You're going to talk about the school, right? It's a big thing tomorrow.
Yeah, a lawyer from Harvard, a kid who went to Massapequa, is now stepping up pro bono, and he's going to fight this case too.
And I heard New York State pushed it a little bit further
Yeah.
today.
Which
Now,
one is
Wan-
that?
Now the Wantagh Warriors are next in line. They're going,
Aqua too screwed with the Thunderbirds.
which is outrageous considering. But I mean, I figured I was going to do that just if we run out of stuff, or maybe I'll do it at one of the breaks.
You could say, and we're trying to get for next week, maybe one or two of these people on the show for the rally that we believe is real,
Okay.
right? Because tomorrow's the big rally at Massapequa,
Yeah,
which is a national story. So
it's a national story.
Because Linda was there and Trump mentioned.
Yeah, Trump even wore a Massapequa.
Yeah.
Chiefs held up the Chiefs shirt. But the thing about those.
Aaron, I'll probably go to the laptop here pretty quick when we get back.
They honor those Indians, especially Wantagh. Wantagh's got the picture, the portrait of the.
Not 10-4. 10-4. Greta. Thank you, Greta. Greta throwing out some compliments. You know, she likes my shirt. She likes your jacket. She likes our colors today.
Thank you, Greta.
Yeah,
I like that jacket too, KDJ.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, wow.
Patriot Vivian sent me this.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. She bought it for her.
You got that as a gift.
Her man, yeah, and it didn't fit. She goes, hey, I think this will fit you. I'll take it. Delgato goes, you look like the first owner of that jacket. I'm like, second.
Only the second.
Only the
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night. That's right. I almost said Monday night. God, Friday night at the America First Warehouse.
It's a leap year. Yeah.
Yes, it's Friday, Damon. It's always Friday when you're live. Friday night at the America First Warehouse, Real America's Voice, all across the country, and of course 103.9 LI News Radio all across Long Island, New York. Glad you're in. Vinnie Mac's here. He's going to do some news. Rick Delgato's got news as well. Kevin Downey Jr., Paul Nolan, as always. Aaron and Fran holding it down tonight in the big room upstairs. We're always happy to be here at the America First Warehouse. Joe the Box and his staff are always so welcome. We want to thank them for having us. As always, Martin and the crew do a great job, and Aaron and Fran obviously couldn't do it without them. So, and we got a great audience here tonight of Patriots here.
Oh, yeah.
I saw one quick thing before we get to Delgato's greatest headlines in the world. I saw one more thing. Our guy Clay Higgins, we love Clay Higgins, right? Higgins, just kind of got a chuckle out of this. Clay Higgins reintroduces legislation to drug test Congress. And I thought, boy, that's a damn good idea.
Damn good idea.
Clay Higgins from Louisiana reintroduced House Resolution 35, the Exposing Congressional Drug Abuse Act. You know how I say that most of these things, whatever the name is, it usually does the opposite?
Yeah.
This one, I think, is probably right on the money. This is exactly what they should be doing. Requires members of the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate to participate in random drug screening. So, like, you know, if you're playing for, if you're in the UFC and you got a big fight coming up and then, they show up at your door and say, okay, we're going to, pee in a cup here so we can check you out. Kind of be the same deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Companies have this.
How do you think this would have gone when Pelosi was the Speaker of the House?
She would have been peeing vodka.
The Balvini reading is off the chart.
Yeah.
Elected officials in Washington, D.C. should be subject to the same kind of random drug screenings that every blue-collar, working-class American endures, says Clay Higgins. What do you think about that?
You know what? That's not a bad idea. I mean, I work for a company that you have to do that. You have to, be clean, and if they bust somebody, you're out of a job. Right?
I think if they do that, Jasmine Crockett's not going to be nearly as much fun.
Why'd you get so quiet, Jasmine? What happened here? Yeah.
They'd have to do it once a term, too, and they don't know the time.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, that would be how it works. So.
I'd rather see them audited, frankly, than drugs. I'd rather see them audited every year or every couple of years. That's the thing that...
Oh, come on, Vin. Let's have both.
Okay, yeah, okay. If we can have both,
No, you know what, though? The auditing, I think, is a great idea because, as soon as it starts, they're going to hit the drugs because they know they're in trouble.
Yeah.
So one leads to the other.
Right, exactly.
So let's go to the audience. Just by clapping, would the audience prefer, number one, drug testing? Okay. Or number 2, all of them get their asses audited.
That's it. You win a refrigerator. Well done, Damon. Yeah.
All right, very good.
Okay,
I think
good
audit
job.
is the
I'll go with the audit.
is the name of the game for all these crooks. All right. 20 minutes past the hour. Let's do some headlines, the greatest headlines in the world, according to him, and that would be one. Rick Delgato. News is brought to you by our friends at EternalLifeCoin.com. EternalLifeCoin.com. It is a great piece for Father's Day if you want to give something to your dad to kind of hold on to and keep with him as a remembrance, or it's just something to kind of feel the spirit. Check it out, EternalLifeCoin.com. Delgato, what's going on?
All right. Well, since you did mention the greatest news stories in the world, let's get to the biggest one that's still going on, and I'm talking about the feud. The feud. Let's play the feud.
Oh, boy.
President Donald Trump told reporters today on Air Force One that he's been so busy working on foreign policy, he doesn't have time to think about Elon Musk and the feud with the billionaire. Trump fought with Musk over social media. You might remember we talked about it yesterday, exchanging threats ranging from canceling government contracts to starting new centrist political party. Musk even threatened or accused the president of being on Epstein or in the Epstein files, I should say, citing that as a reason for their delayed release. Of course, what?
I have the clip of Trump on Air Force One.
Oh, you do? Okay, we've got the clip of Trump. There he is.
Yeah, here he is.
What's your view on Elon Musk as of today? I mean, have you heard from him at all?
Honestly, I've been so busy working on China, working on Russia, working on Iran, working on so many. I'm not thinking about it.
Yeah, I've been so busy working on all these things, I'm not thinking about it.
Right.
Take the high road, which is what I'm glad he did.
Which, speaking of the high road on that, can we all agree that Trump didn't go nuclear? He was so measured through a lot of that stuff until...
He went hydrogen bomb a little early, not nuclear bomb.
Elon went haywire with the Epstein thing. That was just pushing the envelope so far over the top.
Either that or it was a brilliant stroke. And again, I'm of the mind that this is a kind of a coordinated... This is a WWE wrestling. They've sketched it out. They got everybody sucked in. Who's the good guy? Who's the heel? Let's fight this out and let's see what people think.
Did someone say yup in the audience? Did I just hear? Mm-hmm. Someone agrees with you, Delgato. Who was that?
Somebody does.
We want to interview you at the next break because we want to see who agrees here with Rick Delgato.
It makes sense based on the dynamics, right?
Right.
What makes sense?
It makes sense where two people who just hugged it out, had a full love fest like a few days before, go completely the key to the White House, go completely postal on each other, Elon in particular. Like, you just kind of think, like, did they coordinate this thing?
Exactly.
Because this is so off the wall.
No, not exactly.
What do you mean not exactly? That's exactly the point I'm making. You want more proof?
Rick Delgato.
I got more proof for you, David. You want to see it?
Let him
Sure.
Megyn Kelly, remember, she had a feud with Donald Trump.
Yes.
Here she is talking to Sean Ryan about her Trump feud. And,
I told you about this yesterday.
Well, I actually have a clip.
Okay, fine.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
You did your homework.
All right. Oh, I've been doing my homework. Here it is. This is cut number 3. Here's Megyn Kelly talking to Sean Ryan on his podcast about the Trump feud. Check this out. Yes. Cut number 3.
And it was really crazy, so crazy, Sean, because I walked out. We agreed, like, we're good. And the last thing he said to me before I walked out of Trump Tower was, Megyn, it's not such a good thing if they're not talking about us.
It's so true.
And I was like, oh my God, was this whole thing for show? Like, was he acting the whole time?
Wow.
To generate buzz?
I don't know. I've seen it written many times.
Yeah.
Telling people, grab your popcorn, it's coming.
Either that or Elon was snorting ketamine with Jasmine Crockett.
It just beat me till I was going to say he was higher than 11 kites. He lost his marbles. He was ticked off about his boy Isaac's getting booted out of NASA.
That's for sure.
He was ticked off about losing his EV credits. He was, the threats that he had enough. He's like, I got you elected. I'm more. Listen, let's just say hypothetically it's staged. Okay, no problem. That unto itself is disgusting. If they stage this and played us all like this, I don't like it one bit. For that reason alone, it's be transparent. We're past all that nonsense. But let's just say it was staged, and it forces Democrats to say, all right, we want that Epstein list, and boom, the Clintons and the Obamas and all the Hollywood elite are exposed.
And we hope so.
It's a wonderful byproduct because now we finally sucked the left into saying, let's see their deities exposed.
Right.
which would be great. I just can't imagine anybody at any point would say, put me on the Epstein list and accuse me of being a pedophile, because that's what that implies. I can't picture Trump ever saying, I'll agree to this show. Because if you said he's on that Epstein list, it's fuel for the TDS crowd to say he's a pedo.
Right. It's fuel, but he knows it's fake. And it's totally fake, and they can prove it. Right?
And he never said the list. He said Epstein files.
Right.
Which technically, I think Naomi Campbell's in it.
Yeah. I mean, when
Naomi Campbell is tied into the Diddy thing full tilt. I mean, she's a big player in all that stuff. So her agents, and her handlers have billions and billions of dollars. So she's not a no-name in that. She's a no-name in both. She's a big deal in both of those cases, in my opinion.
Again, like I always say, it always comes down to the wording. What are they saying and what are they not saying? If they're saying files, they're not talking about evidence, they're not talking about proof. They're saying, well, he's mentioned in there. Okay, in what
time
capacity?
will tell. Let's hope. Let's.
All right, one more time before we go to commercial. Let's go to the live from Studio 6B audience and the America First Warehouse audience. Number one, clap if you think that this is just face value, two guys fighting who are not happy with each other. Number two, clap if you think Delgato's right and this is 11D chess.
Are there any aliens involved? That's what we'd like to know.
Have a good weekend, everybody. I'll see you Monday night right here live. We'll be back right after this. Who is it?
This is why I don't follow Damon when he gambles. Okay? When he bets on a game, I'm like, I'll take the other team.
All right, anything else you can tell me, or just that?
Check 1, 2. All right. You make it happen.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, for having my back there. I know we're out over our skis, but it's fun. It's more fun this way.
All right, so I'll say what do you think about Musk? We'll start from there and see where it goes. So
There's only two paths. He was either
it's either real or it's fake,
or it's orchestrated.
Right.
So, all right. I think we give a shout out to Rhonda.
What's up with that?
Right, T-Mac? Rhonda? You think Rhonda's watching? Help me, Rhonda. Help me, Rhonda.
Howdy, Rumblers. We're live in the chat. Live in the chat.
Yeah. Oh, all right. I wrote it down. I write things down, okay?
Small
I pay
Town
attention.
Barbie.
Yeah.
Hassenpfeffer. Joe Jr. Everybody in the Rumble chat I'm going through right now. Drake 99. Not that Drake. That Drake is, I think he's in Canada. Drake 99 in the Rumble chat, though, is here. Marty Kin, Ratchet, Small Town Barbie, Ordinary Passenger. Howdy. Let's go over to the Twix chat.
Me and him pull all the time. I'm the only one that takes him off.
If you don't follow me on X/Twix,
The crowd even man, Jay got me so riled up.
you're missing some cool stuff. I re-X or re-Twix a bunch of cool stuff during the day.
We have a birthday out there. Mallory Klondike turned 60 today. Thanks, Mallory, for watching. Happy birthday to you. I would go to the piano at this moment in time, but I'm not allowed to leave my chair.
We want to be actually on the air tomorrow or Monday.
Steve, director Steve Mena is on. A very famous director. Can't believe he's watching here.
Oh, and I've been babyfied. So we have video of me being babyfied, Paul.
So it's fun. No glasses, though.
I know. Well, I didn't need them when I was a baby.
I like the InfoWars T-shirt on you.
Yeah, me too. I couldn't believe they found that clip of me. And the beaver nuts. Chowing down the beaver nuts.
I'll try.
All right, what do we got? 15 seconds. 12 seconds.
Got 12 seconds.
back, ladies and gentlemen, to live from Studio 6B at the America First Warehouse. Whoop it up, Patriots. Let's hear it. You are the most patriotic human beings in the most patriotic venue. Speaking of Patriots, we've got Patriot Steve here. Patriot Steve, thanks for joining us. Why don't you tell them what we have in common?
We are smart guys. That's who we are. We are smart guys. We do a show right before this guy on 103.9 FM with the great Jay Oliver and the great Charles Walshine.
Jay Oliver.
And we are a bunch of smart guys. That's what we are. But you are the smartest of us all.
Well, you're very kind, sir. So your show comes on before mine between 9 and 11 a.m. Monday through Friday at linewsradio.com, which can be heard worldwide, is what you're trying to say.
Kevin, you have a radio show?
That wasn't a plug. No, Vin, I don't have a radio show.
I've never heard of this. It's the first time I'm hearing it. Holy cow.
Steve, what is steaming your clams today? We're talking about Elon, anything. What's really making you cranky?
Here's the bottom line. From what I just heard these guys talking about, parts of it are right, parts of it are wrong. But the bottom line is Donald Trump said it best. I could go down Fifth Avenue and shoot someone right on the street. Take them right on out. Nothing's happening to me. That man tells the truth. That man might be the craziest man on the planet Earth, but he gets things done and he's 10 steps ahead. So I happen to agree with the guy who's saying he's the WWE. He is the Vince McMahon. He is the greatest chess player that the country has ever seen and maybe the world has ever seen. And the bottom line is, at the end of the day, we got the right guy. You are in America. This is America. America is in good hands with our man, Donald J. Trump.
Steve, let me ask you. Trump said he could shoot anyone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. What would happen if he shot Nancy Pelosi on Fifth Avenue? Could he have a third, fourth, and fifth term?
Well, there would be a parade down Canyon of Heroes as the Yankees win the World Series this year, and Pelosi would probably be leading the charge. But the truth of the matter is that when he goes out there and he tells people the way it is, sometimes people hate it. They can't stand it. But you know what? America first, and they know it's right. He's doing so many great things out there. It's amazing. Steve Bannon, greatest line of the week, I think. It's the line of the week when he says, we're gonna deport Elon Musk. As much as I love Elon Musk, of what he's done and all this other stuff, he's no match for Trump. Whether Trump's on that Epstein list or not, you know what? This is Lucha Libre at its best. Trump all the way, baby.
Trump all the way, baby. Patriot Steve, thanks for joining us, my friend. Let's kick it back to Big D and the boys.
All right, KDJ, very good. Live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday night.
Baby.
Well, Vin, what'd you think of that?
What I think of what?
Well, no, the whole thing of what Steve said to Kevin, but the whole thing of what we talked about before, the Elon and Trump thing, and I think me and Paul are more aligned than you, maybe Delgato, and obviously Steve. Where do you fall?
Yeah, well, my first emotion is I'm just really disappointed. I don't want to see this kind of fighting.
Yeah.
And whether it's fake or real,
I'm with you.
I don't like it. And I that's why I was kind of agreeing with Rick, because I'm like, well, nothing really makes sense to me. The only thing that makes sense is this guy just kind of lost it, and Trump, love him or not love him, but he reacts, and then it escalates and so on. So I just don't like it. I think the two of them are so powerful together.
100%.
That we have so much to accomplish, and nothing can take away how brilliant Elon is and how he started this Doge thing. So I'm just hoping. I think they're going to kiss and make up. I give it a week.
I think the exact same thing, that they'll kiss and make up, because Trump's skin is so thick. Like, he doesn't care. He'll go head-to-head with anybody, apologize, and it's water off his back. He doesn't care.
Right, it's not personal.
He's got rhino skin. Nothing penetrates him. He doesn't care.
What he's been through?
The American people are the losers in this fight.
Yeah.
We watched two champions really doing everything in their power to kind of expose the deep state and all the criminal behavior that Democrats have displayed, and the rhinos over the last 40 years. We were so ripe for the picking. Nothing gets codified to law. The cuts don't come in this big bad bill. There's way too much in there. Do I understand why the bill has to get passed? Because 50 years of nonsense from the spending. If you just shut it now, it could be a big problem. But who's going to buy our bonds? Who's going to buy our debt if this thing keeps going through the roof? So there's damned if you do, damned if you don't with this bill. But you said it best last night, and I'm in full agreement with that. Piece by piece, parse it out, vote on each individual piece. The pork that's jammed into this thing is what Elon's freaking over for the most part. But, I'm with you. I think he was drug-induced, lost his cookies, and he regrets it. He even tweeted later today, this has to end somewhere along something to that effect.
Well, Politico's reporting tonight that there may be some kind of a call set up between the two of them. I don't know if that's total fake news coming from them. It
Trump
probably
canceled
is.
that today.
Yeah, that was supposed to happen today. It didn't happen.
It did not. Okay.
That's why they asked him, where he was jumping on Air Force One, what's going on, and he says, I'm too busy.
Yeah.
So Trump kind of threw cold water on the call thing. I think it's gonna last a little bit. I don't see them singing Kumbaya for everybody for the cameras just yet. I think it needs to run its course. Let it run its course. If it's real, it's real. If it's fake, it's.
But if it is fake,
right,
or real, it doesn't matter. If this promotes getting that Epstein list out there, and start holding people accountable for doing the worst possible crime in the history of the world, like you can't be a more demented crime than what happened with those children.
Right.
Let's start convicting people. If it gets to that, I'm all for this.
Now let me ask you this. No, you can clap for that. Is a few hours of our two favorite high-profile guys going at it worth getting that endpoint?
Are you kidding?
I
They
think
hit each other with bats for all I care.
Exactly.
Get these animals locked up and put in jail forever.
Right. So if it gives us an excuse or gives them an excuse to say, okay, you know what, Democrats, you wanted it, the people wanted it, let's give it to them exactly what they want. Because let's face it, as soon as Democrats heard or saw that tweet from Trump that said, oh, he's in the Epstein files, they
went haywire.
They went haywire, right. They demanded,
like
they
a
need to
lava
see
cake
it now.
to them.
But the only ones that are demanding to see it are the ones that know they're not on it. Not the ones that are on it. They're just sitting there quietly, sitting on their hands thinking, oh my gosh, I hope this doesn't happen. And we talked about this last night, Damon, where that attorney who was prosecuting the first Epstein trial, I found the video, cut number 4, his name is Bradley Edwards, and here he is talking about Trump, and this is why Trump is in the Epstein file. So technically, Elon isn't lying. He's only...
Well, we all know he was in those files.
Right.
We know this.
Right. But for the
never at Epstein's Island.
But for the surface scratchers who only see the headline and go, "Oh my God," and they start freaking out, that was for them. That was chum for them to freak out and go, "We need to see those files. He's guilty." So here's cut number 4. Here's that attorney Bradley Edwards. Check this out.
Nothing at all. The only thing that I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, "Let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know," and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009.
Yeah, so there you have it. You want to know what's in the file? That.
Yeah. That should be on 60 Minutes Sunday night.
Right.
The thing for me, I said this yesterday, and I just think they get off the hook easy because now it's all about the two big personalities in the room. But for me, and again, I'm a little different. I take the fight more at face value, that it's over the deficit, it's over spending, it's over the things that Elon tried to do that he doesn't like. So if you don't believe that, then you're not, maybe this point doesn't really ring with you. But for me, this all really lets the Republican Party off the hook, and how, I don't know, maybe pathetic's not too strong a word, but they're just fake. The entirety of this fake Republican Party when it comes to spending, this fake conservative movement that we supposedly have, the gaslighting we continue to get from them, they continue to just run interference when they're not in control. They yell so loudly about how deficits and debt and spending and our grandkids and this. They yell so loudly, so clearly. It's so easy from the cheap seats to throw peanuts on from the peanut gallery. But as soon as they're in charge, all they do is run fake interference for why we can't do it now, why it's this, why you shouldn't be upset, because really it's going to be better down the long run, but maybe this, and they gaslight you that things are not a problem. 4 months ago, the world was falling apart. Now all of a sudden, inflation's doesn't still have the possibility of going up, and it's not a problem. The cost of living for everybody is just great. You talk to people, they don't feel that way. To me, the Republicans get off easy for how weak and pathetic they are when we're just focused on the top two guys.
Yeah, there's a perfect example of two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
So That's right on the money, in my opinion.
It's Trump's biggest handicap, frankly. Here's a guy that actually knows how to clean things up, does the things that are necessary to clean them up. But the big handicap is he's got to deal with those, all of these clowns.
Absolutely.
And all these clowns, they don't have the same agenda. They say, they give a lot of, word salads there to try and talk about it. But if he has such a big handicap, also for a guy that's not used to having a handicap. I mean, when he's a leader that makes decisions.
Yeah, they're playing defense against him. They're stopping him every chance they have.
They're just in the way of so many things, but that is, unfortunately, the system we have now. The best thing we can do is just vote as many out as we can and vote some good people in and just keep doing that.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, for me, the Republicans, it's like we don't even, they complained when Biden was the end of Biden that everything was falling apart. Yeah, we don't even message what the policy changes are going to be. The policies right now are the same. The spending levels right now are Biden level spendings. We can't even message what it is that the party at this point believes in. We can't even get a unified party to say, hey, we need to go back to at least pre-COVID level spending.
Right. You would think that'd be the easy part.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we can't even get that.
But again, that goes against their best interest, not the country's. Not the MAGA agenda. That goes against that interest. They just glom on. They're coattail riders. They're like, oh, my team's winning. All right, I'm back on the train. And then they enjoy the party and the championship. But when it comes time to time for a season to follow up that to try and go back to back, they don't want to do the work.
Yeah.
They just want to sit there and bask in the afterglow. They don't really want to do anything because if they have to do something, they can be held to account for it. They can be called on it. Hey, you voted for this. Oh, but that affects them trying to get their, keep their job. And that's all they care about is keeping their job.
Well, what Trump can do, by the way, and what he is doing is, and we talked about this last night, is driving the revenue up. We talked about how Newt Gingrich and then the revenue went crazy when Clinton was in office. We talked about that a little last night. But what he can control are these amazing deals he's doing across the board with all of these companies coming here, all the investment going
trillion in infrastructure coming in. 10 trillion.
Infrastructure, business, manufacturing, products, even tariff revenue. He can make all that top line really sing. It's this bottom line that the government's in the way of. They don't even know how to do top line stuff.
Well, the trade deficit numbers are in, and if you haven't seen them, they're fantastic. So we'll get to that maybe in the next segment. But there's so much. I think the future is completely bright. I think the market's going to explode. I think we're on the right course still. I just obviously don't trust the rhinos.
All right, live from Studio 6B, live from the America First Warehouse. We'll get to Vinnie Mac's news, Paul Nolan's news, Kevin Downey Jr. as well. Lots to do. We'll do it when we get back right after this. Hey, we got another birthday, Delgato, out here. A naval officer, Sean Devich, 56 years old. Happy birthday,
Nice.
Sean. Thank you for your service, buddy.
Yes, happy
We
birthday.
appreciate that. Everybody does.
Where's that on? Which chat that was on?
That's on Facebook. I stick with Facebook. I do my battles there, and I do all my good stuff there, too.
All right. Let's see. Jumping over to the Rumble chat. Let's see. Astrotech 2 thinks Elon is a fraud. Where's the $2 trillion in fraud and waste? Believe me, they're finding it.
I don't think there's any question
Why
they
would
can
you point
find
to Elon
that
on
amount
that?
of money. What's that?
What?
Why would you point at Elon on that?
I don't know.
Talk to Mike Johnson.
Well, there you go. It's there. It's easily there, though. $2 trillion seems like such a ridiculous number, but based on what we know already,
Yeah.
it's there.
I'm not sure that they're up for answering questions, but
Jump straight. It's a data play.
Yeah.
Data's the new oil. Him and Peter
Mateo.
Wheezy
Jeff?
Cat. Wheezy Cat's in the chat. Jackie 1956. Mike V. L 72.
Things online. I want an AI.
And Skeet Mans. Along with United We Stand. All these people in the Rumble chat jumping over to Twix. Put on a suit. Put on a suit.
I'll come to you after. I'll go to you and then
Commander Mike. Racing Banshee. Tumbleweed Farmer. These are a bunch of people in the Twix chat. Kevin Downey Jr. is getting ready to. There he is. Hi, Kay.
Hi, Rick.
He's getting ready to do another interview. If anybody else out there wants to talk to Kevin, he's quite the good listener. Over in the YouTubes. In the YouTubes, we have a $10 super chat from Mr. AZ Mikey. Good to see
AZ.
Papa Nolan out of the trunk. Sad not to see Slickster tonight. Love you guys. Chat, chat, chat. Damon bringing the truth no matter what. KDJ too funny. Vin the OG. And Delgato always stays weird. All right.
Vin the OG? What's OG?
Original.
Oh.
That's what that means.
Oh, thank you.
OG is original
Yeah.
gangster. You're the original guy.
He doesn't know these clever terms.
I'm from out of town. I'm not familiar with your customs.
Yeah.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Patriots only, no commie pinkos allowed, right, ladies and gentlemen? Am I right? No commies allowed tonight? Oh, yeah. Pinko stinko, not tonight. Folks, we've got Patriot Paul here. We were just talking. I'm like, I know this cat. He goes, I know you. You sing in a band.
Yeah.
What? Tell us about the band.
New Life Crisis is my band.
New Life Crisis. I knew I knew
Really?
this guy. I was like, I know him from somewhere. And Paul, what's on your mind today?
Well, you know, conspiracy theory friends out there, this hat, under this hat is a lot of tinfoil. Elon's got a black eye. So there's a thing called the Black Eye Club.
Oh, now we're
And
talking.
Did the deep state get to him?
Here, I can hear Delgato warming up now. Paul Nolan go, did he say?
Talked about that. Oh, yeah.
You want to run that past the boys?
Well, you know, I'd like to know the thoughts, because it actually, all the world's a stage, and there does seem a lot of staging to this. It seems, you know, kind of out there. I thought maybe it was to save Elon's business, to stop people from getting to attacking his places and stuff. So I thought there might be a business ploy to it. So that was my theory. But then the black eye thing made me think the deep state got to the guy.
All right. First of all, before we kick it to the boys, where can we see New Life Crisis next?
I'm going to be doing a duo with my good friend Adam Teesey at a place called Margaritas in Port Jefferson.
Margaritas of Port Jefferson. That's Patriot Paul. Let's hear for him. A New Life Crisis. Let's kick that over to the Black Eye Club. Over to the boys.
All right. Well, where can I go after that? I can only go to
Delgato, what do we talk about in the green room?
I can only go to Delgato and Paul here. Black Eye Delgato.
We were just talking about the Black Eye Club. I don't know if you were familiar with that, Damon.
Yeah.
Are you?
That we were talking about it? Yeah, I was there.
But I mean the actual Black Eye Club and what it means.
Please inform us.
It's it's a adrenochrome kind of a group.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a warning calling card for the intelligentsia. Let's leave it at that.
Correct.
So that's
somebody locked the door of the warehouse. They're going to be storming through on us.
Right? So that's what he's saying.
That's what he's talking about, yes, that Elon is sporting the black eye, which you'll see in a lot of celebrities have sported black eyes. And people are always like, what the heck happened to that person? The theory is that they've been kind of initiated. They're part of this thing.
Okay.
And that's, as Paul says...
It's like a hazing thing?
It could be considered a hazing.
Like a warning.
Welcome to the club, pal.
About to come down with a sudden case of death.
Right.
Okay. All right, very good.
In case you're wondering.
Yes.
Yeah, 10 minutes till the hour, live from Studio 6B. Vinnie Mac is here. Vinnie Mac, what's been on your mind?
I did not know that.
Black eyes?
Black eyes are not on my mind. I got two things that I've been thinking about. One is sort of self-serving for us here at Live from Studio 6B. And by the way, all the people here and all the people watching, because some information came out regarding CNN, who averaged 374,000 primetime viewers.
God.
Nobody's watching. Whenever I get freaked out about the left sometimes when I hear them talking and pontificating, this makes me feel good because nobody's watching.
Right.
MSNBC and so on, the lowest ratings. But I look at CNN. Here's a network that's a major network. You know, they pay their hosts millions of dollars. And they hire them because they're, you know, journalists and they with media training and they've got all these great things. Maybe the casting couch goes on there. We know what happened here when we got our jobs, Damon, with your casting couch. It was very complicated. Did a good job. But my point is, our audience is bigger than that. Our audience is bigger than the 374,000 that CNN has. And I think that says everything of where the country really is. Nobody's watching this stuff, and shows like ours and networks like Real America's Voice are capturing these audiences, and they're not in small numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, Fox has got 2.3 million people watching in prime time. Our numbers are close to double what CNN's doing. I mean, that's amazing stuff when you think about all the money and effort that they make and what we got going on here. So I just thought, hey, kudos to us, man. We're making a difference, and people are watching, and the country's listening.
And you know what, well with that, we should say kudos to Rav. Rav doesn't put a restriction on anything we want to talk about or say. We are never told you can't go after this. You know, we could say anything we want. We can talk about any subject. There's no corporate pressure.
There's a couple words they'd like you to stay away from.
Yeah, they got a few thoughts on aliens and things like that. But the thing that really got me going was the Supreme Court ruling on reverse discrimination.
Yeah.
We went through all of this woke stuff and all this DEI stuff, and through that entire process, all I kept thinking about was, this is reverse discrimination. People aren't getting jobs, people aren't getting promotions, maybe actors aren't getting gigs. All these things are going on, and I never thought I'd see the day where this was literally acknowledged. And they acknowledged this in a case with a straight white woman who sued because of reverse discrimination, because of DEI. And this is great for our country. It's a leveling of the playing field of just a hysteria that took over our country in every facet of our lives. I don't know if anybody here has ever faced that. I have. I do a lot of business in Hollywood, and I can tell you flat out that I've been in meetings where, you know, I can't believe the things that I hear for DEI purposes. You know, there's a true story about a white guy that did something and they're casting, you know, a black woman in it, you know, because they need to do that. You're like, well, it's about this guy. Like, I don't understand. How can you do that? So I've lived this. I've seen it. And I'm happy to see the Supreme Court taking a stance here. I'm kind of surprised that they went this far.
9-0.
Yeah, that's
9-0 is shocking.
That's the most surprising, the 9-0, because you've got like 4 women on the court there, and I'm sure they were all just itching to say, you know what, no, this is fine the way it is. Mm-hmm. But even they ruled. Even the one that can't identify a woman decided that, yes, I guess I can identify this white woman is being discriminated against, which is mind-blowing.
Little Miss DEI SCOTUS justice.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm on the side of the white woman. Yeah, because you got the gig.
Right.
It's too late yet.
The story is terrible. Did you hear the story, what they did to this woman? It's crazy. Yeah. It's insane. So she was there 19 years. She was due for the promotion. She wasn't gay, and they gave the gay girl the promotion.
Trans gay.
And the woman who ran the place was gay. And not only did they not give her the promotion, they demoted her to a job that got $40,000 a year less and put a gay woman in her spot that she was excelling at for 19 years. I mean, this is like...
I think I mentioned last night, I was in Los Angeles. I saw a bunch of friends of mine whose houses burned down in neighborhoods that were destroyed, and who are hardcore liberals. I mean, talk about getting into arguments with people. It was like a regular, almost cost our friendship. And now they're like, you know what? We found out the fire chief did all this DEI stuff. All that she was worried about was making videos and doing all this stuff. The tide has turned, but having the Supreme Court put a sledgehammer on that, and it's not about race or your sexuality or gender or any stuff. It's just simply about fair play. And that's all we wanted. DEI took fair play out of it, and the Supreme Court finally spoke about it. So kudos to them, and that's what was on my mind.
Yeah, that's
you
good.
You know what I hate, though? It's not reverse discrimination. It's discrimination.
It's discrimination.
Right. Yeah, it is.
It
Well
goes
said.
in every direction. And what I love about this is now how are they going to play the victim card? How are they going to say that they are oppressed on the left when they're clearly in charge of a lot of things now? You can't play the oppressed card as you're kicking Whitey down to another level of the business because you're straight, get out of here. You can't play the oppressed card when you're running things.
Well, it's true. I'd love to see this enforced more often.
Yeah.
Even affirmative action to some extent, particularly with a lot of these foreigners coming in, particularly the Chinese coming in that Trump's trying to stop. I mean, there's a lot of other implications here beyond, the simple discrimination thing. I think, people got to get in for their qualifications.
It's a shame that it's such a cultural, it's ingrained in the culture so deeply now. We watch it every time Caitlin Clark plays. I mean, there's a lot of animosity because she's heterosexual. Forget the race part.
Right, forget the white part.
Yeah, forget that part of it. Like, people are upset. Like, it's just...
No, it's a real thing.
It's an accepted part of the culture, and it's got to end. It's got to stop.
That's why I listen to Barbara Streisand and Barry Manilow.
Stay in touch.
Well, I want to be connected.
All right, that's a wrap. Hour 1 at the America First Warehouse. Hour 2 coming up when we get back right after this.
Twice as bad as any community, too, in this.
They're
aspect.
vicious.
Terrible.
I know. Hey, D, if you want to go to KDJ a couple times, get him involved. Like, you don't have to come to me for news. You want to just go to him a couple
Is there
times.
anything you want to talk
He's got
about? You
stuff
want to just throw
prepared. Let's
something
get
out
him
there? You got
rolling.
a question? Something you want to say?
He's so much fun to listen to. So
Supreme Court stuff?
I mean, I feel like everybody's talking a lot. So I think
he's been a little quiet because he said he didn't really know a lot about one of the subjects, so he stood out.
Sensitive, when you deal with, race.
I just like to get him going. Every time he talks, I'm so entertained.
There you go. Thank you. All right, so just you're happy. You're happy with Trump. Yeah, absolutely. Me too. All right, this will be good. Love that. All right, this will be a good one because we have a... A little more?
Does Kevin have a radio show? Anyone know here? Just
it's funny you mentioned that, Vin.
Yeah.
He does.
It's hot here, right?
It can be heard worldwide.
It could be heard throughout the
At
globe.
linewsradio.com.
I don't think so.
Really?
Thank you. Those are good.
I'd like to
Look at
see that.
It's fun. Look, a fake...
Every one of my friends who watch the show is like, what's the deal with that guy? Slick Rick, man. He's a character. You know Slick?
It feels different without.
It's definitely a different thing. It's a different, dialogue.
Isn't it great? Have you been?
It definitely
You know
feels
what?
different to me.
It's like
because
a
there's so many
museum.
times that he throws something in, and then that's.
You know what?
Yeah,
I've
he
been
gets-
here 100
he just,
times.
like,
There's always
goes
something I missed.
with his
And I
puns.
was like, is that new? Like, no, it's been there for 2 years. Like, I missed it. Yeah, I love this place. You guys want it? It's amazing. You know what? I never noticed. Yeah.
your television sounds funny in the evening, you're watching live from Studio 6B.
What's that?
All right, live from Studio 6B, it is Hour 2, Real America's Voice, all across the country, 103.9 LI News Radio. Across Long Island, New York. Glad you're in on a Friday. We are live at the America First Warehouse. We have a room full of patriots here. Great audience again. Vinnie Max here is doing news. Rick Delgato, Paul Nolan, Kevin Downey Jr. is here as well.
Where?
And he's got another patriot here at the America First Warehouse. Mr. KDJ, over to you. Who you got?
Thank you, Big D. We got Patriot Christian here. Give it up for Patriot Christian, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Christian, you are a business owner, are you not?
Yes. Yep, I am.
What kind of business?
I own an electrical contracting company, and I also am involved in a restaurant that just opened in St. James called the Stone Goat Restaurant and Brewery.
Stone Goat Restaurant and Brewery. And might I say that one of the finer bourbon selections on this Long Island of ours. I've been there. Man, it's delicious. Christian, you're a business owner, small business owner. How has Trump affected your life? Good, bad, positive, negative? Where are you at?
Fantastic. I'm very happy to be here in this situation. There's a lot of stuff that's going on every single day, but I never seen somebody change so many things so quickly and positively, looking at everything. I have a lot of things as far as immigration was an issue, and especially ripping into people and auditing everybody. I think that's fantastic. It's needed to be done, and it's being done.
Well done. I would applaud for that. I would approve of that. I would approve of that. Christian, any plans at the Stone Goat for the summer?
Yes, actually, we got a backyard area. We're going to have a stage there.
For stand-up comedy? I know a guy. He has a radio show.
Wait a second.
What about cigar night? Cigar night?
Yes, we're working on that, getting the cigars there and getting somebody to supply them, and we have a couple of people in mind. And yes, the beers are going to be great. The music's going to be great. It's a beautiful area.
Comedy. I've been there. Comedy night. Yeah, I've been there. This is a wonderful establishment. You're going to love it. Patriot Christian, thanks so much for coming on. Best of luck. See you at the Stone Goat, baby. Back to you, Big D.
All right, KDJ. I also have been to the Stone Goat and like it very much. And I mean, if they're going to do cigars, I think they got to talk to our guys at Mac Miller Cigars, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They were on my show. Did I mention I have a...
You have a radio show?
No. This is news.
No. Yeah.
Mac Mobile Lounge was on this Wednesday.
Mac Mobile Cigars, man. That's your guy. If you're going to do cigars, right? They bring the whole thing right to you.
Absolutely.
So now, when you do a radio show, are you on the radio?
Yeah. It's
Which radio?
Well, it doesn't matter, because if you go to linewsradio.com, you can hear it worldwide.
There you go.
That's I get people saying, Big D keeps talking about your radio show, but we don't live in Long Island. I said, he on linewsradio.com.
Yeah, exactly. You can hear it anywhere. So just like you can hear us Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night, 8 to 10, right here on 103.9 LI News. And, of course, Real America's Voice, the mothership all across the country, all across the world. Glad you're in for Hour 2. KDJ not only doing great interviews, but obviously he's got the news as well. KDJ, we've talked about a lot of stuff tonight, but I'm sure you have some other things that have been on your mind. What are they?
Well, thank you, Big D. Check this out. I love when this happens. A mass shooting was thwarted, I believe, last night, maybe today. Juvenile, I shall read in my broadcaster's voice, a juvenile from Columbia County, Oregon. You got to say Oregon. If you say Oregon, they get angry.
Yeah.
It's like if someone says, oh, yeah, I love going to visit my cousin who lives in Long Island. And then people fight.
Yeah.
It's on.
Or the worst one, of course, is obviously, as we know, going to Las Vegas.
Nevada. I say Nevada.
Yeah, well, you'd be in big trouble.
Before I moved to New York, I also said Joseph Stalin in Albany, New York. Little Michigan accent there, eh? Oh, for sure, you get in the car and you drive real far. Anyway, they stopped this guy from shooting the place up. They won't give his name because it says he's this person. They say this person. They don't say him. They say they are too young. So let's take one of your polls, Big D. Who says the shooter was A, trans?
Yeah.
B, an anti-Semite.
Oh, yeah.
3, an illegal alien.
Yeah.
And 4, all of the above.
Oh, no.
Yeah, baby. The FBI snagged this Yeah, it's going to be a blue-haired Gorgon. We know it. Come on. It's going to be one of those testicle-hating little boys who's like, yeah, I just hate myself. All they know about him is he has a nihilistic, violent, extremist ideology about him.
Yeah.
About they, them. So we don't know.
Check up from the neck up time on aisle 3, yeah.
So that's my good news of the day. I've got other news. Check this out. It turns out, as we all know, AutoPen Gate, I like to call it AutoPen Gate, every day on the Kevin Downey Jr. show from 9 to 11 a.m. And turns out the only thing signed by Joe Biden's own hand of all the pardons was that for Hunter.
Yeah.
Hunter got the only one actually signed. So that means the other 6 members of the Biden family could be going to jail. You know what? I'll take, I mean, I'd love to see Hunter go down more than anybody. But 1,500 acts of clemency or pardons. And of all of them, one was signed by hand. And as we talked about last night, Trump said, I want an investigation into AutoPen Gate. Now, I think, here's the thing. Trump he's never cared about being liked. And he can't get reelected again. I think he's going to burn down the commie barn before he's out. What do you think, Vin?
I totally agree. This to me, we talked a little about this last night, is the biggest controversy ever in our country.
Yes.
Because the deep state was running the government. When the deep state's running the government, they use this AutoPen, and that's the scariest thing for all of us, because we don't know who's doing what. You elect people, they're not really doing the job. So I think this is bigger than Watergate. What did they do at Watergate? They spied in a hotel. Okay, not good. It was an election thing, right? It was not
it was kind of a CIA op, but
whatever that was a spying thing. This is actually running the government. This is like meat and potatoes, really serious stuff. So that's what I think about it. Like, let's burn it down, and then we'll rebuild it.
Now, am I the only one here that thinks the deep state's been running the government for a couple of decades or so? Maybe as of the JFK assassination is when I think they took over, if not before then.
Could be. I have a better question, though. Back to your AutoPen Gate there, KD, J Jr. My question is why? Why was Hunter's the only one signed?
Because that's his pride and joy.
Yep, just in case.
Smartest guys ever known.
Just in case. I think that was
guy in the room.
I don't think he can hold a pen longer than one signature.
That's true, but that makes you wonder why, just in case.
Yep.
Just in case something comes up and all of a sudden this ends up in court.
Yep.
This is my signature. I did this one.
You're 100% right. He knew this could happen, but the funny part is he threw the other Bidens under the bus.
Right.
I was going to say, you don't think he felt the same about the brother?
No. and only because I think Hunter has enough to take him down. Now, I'm not saying he would do it on purpose, just that he has enough. He knows enough. He has enough information, and they probably have that too on him, that if they went after Hunter, 10 years, right? 10-year pardon he got?
It's actually
for everything
10
from
years,
Ukraine.
11 months.
Right. For everything from Ukraine forward,
Yep.
he got pardoned on. Joe is entangled in that, and he knows that could kill him.
Yep.
Along with his wife.
He'll dodge any sort of back channel payments that went from the Chinese guy to Hunter to his brother Jim
through Russia, through whatever other countries they were running money throughout the 20+ shell companies. That Hunter is the key to the Biden legacy.
Yep.
He doesn't want his legacy messed with, and he had to make sure he protected. This is the spigot I can't let open.
Yep. Or he signed one pardon, then he had to take his big boy nap.
Right.
That's what I think.
And they just said, here, just do all these.
I think you said, I think Biden's got more worries from a MyPillow from Dr. Jill than he does any of this other stuff. So, what else, KDJ? Anything else?
Oh, yeah. I got, look at this. This is hilarious. ICE is hanging out at courthouses, snagging illegal immigrants.
Home Depot's too, we heard today.
Yeah, Home Depot and Lowe's.
Home Depot and Lowe's too.
Yeah.
I like that they're waiting at courtrooms because that means these guys are saying, oh, yeah, I had that meeting I was supposed to go to 3.5 years ago. Maybe I'll just show up today. And ICE is going, too late, out the door. Because everyone's complaining, do these people have due process? Not if you missed your little appointment, you don't. If you're supposed to be there January 5th and you weren't, you're now a scofflaw.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, we started the show with talking about the Democrats and what a good job they did of Abrego Garcia now coming back to the U.S. And what was the one thing I said?
Prison.
I said, I'm anxious to see how they start. One of them is going to try to flip this and say, well, wait a minute. Well, Aaron, put my screen up here. One of the worst of the worst. Here we go.
Well, that's an all-star team.
She especially focused on the idea that Democrats defended Kilmar Abrego Garcia, even though he, of course, is alleged to have committed these crimes. Do you think that Democrats risk politically playing into the president's hands by focusing on this case?
First of all, I don't know of a single Democrat who defended him. He was falsely arrested and removed from the country.
How about you?
So now they're making up all this stuff about MS-13. Or, let's say he was responsible for the January 6th attack and he coordinated the assault on 140 police officers. They're making up things against a guy who's never been prosecuted, much less convicted of anything criminal.
There you go. So somebody who really wants to make you take a shower after you have to listen to him. There you go, saying they haven't defended him, and there's tape of him defending him.
Right, from just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so this is going to be a continued effort now to try to flip the narrative because they got caught in their own stupidity.
Right.
And this guy's going to go down hard now.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to flip it into something else. Guaranteed more will come out like this.
Because, again, they don't listen to Dan Bongino when he had his show and he said, hold, wait, give it, the Bongino rule, he called it, give it some time, give it a couple days, 72 hours, and you'll see the truth start to trickle out. And once they started harping, oh, my goodness, they deported a Maryland man, a Maryland dad, who was just trying to take care of his family by smuggling people across the country and beating his wife with a closed fist. But he was he's just a Maryland guy. Well, now they're screwed because they jumped up, they just went for the surface. They crawled around, eating up the surface, and they didn't look inside. They didn't see inside that this guy's basically a scumbag.
They didn't want to.
Right, they didn't want to.
That was their narrative.
He fit their narrative.
The other thing that is really bugging me that the left is doing right now with all of this stuff is the whole thing about the ICE agents wearing masks and trying to uncover them.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even believe I hear it even from the left. Like, these guys are taking their lives in their hands now, trying to deal with criminals with weapons, and they know there's going to be violence, and they're being hidden, and all the judges are hiding them. All this stuff's happened, and they want these guys to take their masks off, and they've already tried to be outed. I mean, they are inciting violence here. That's real
against
inciting
their homes
violence.
and their families. They're posting where they live.
They're blatantly
Meanwhile,
calling for this.
I still see wackadoodles in their car, driving alone with a mask on.
Right.
They didn't request that during the summer of love of all the crazies that were running in the streets. They were all wearing masks. They're wearing masks at all these protests.
All
these
those
little
looters
punks
and
are always
everything.
wearing masks.
Yeah, I know.
You know what's great, though? The ICE agents are now disguising themselves in different neighborhoods. The most recent one in Arizona, they disguised themselves as utility workers.
I like that.
And apprehended a bunch of illegal Hondurans.
Nice.
Yes.
All right, more to do live from the America First Warehouse. More news coming up live from Studio 6B. We're back right after this. Yeah, that's fine.
Saying hi to all the folks on Facebook that are out there.
Howdy, 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 everybody in the chats, Rumblers, Twixers, YouTubers. Vinny's on the Facebook. I'm not on the Facebook.
Yeah, I'm on the Facebook. The Facebook.
I'm trying to cover the other three. Where's the dude that Vinny just talked to? I gotta talk to him.
What are you talking about? You mean Kevin?
Who's the guy you just talked to? With that hat.
All right, I see a Stormy Daniels reference. I want to know what that is all about. Ann Wilson, what's happening? Thanks for saying hello. I'm going to message you right back. Right, watch, this is real time. This is TV magic here. Hey there. Hey there. There you go. Steve House, what's happening, Steve? Thanks for, man, you there. I see you there all the time, man. It's so good to see you. And, hear what you have to say, too, on social media, so don't be shy. I get some good prompts from the social media folks. Gerald Hawkins got me going on China, which I want to talk about tonight. There's a lot more to talk about on China. A lot more. Larry Bosco, what's happening? I see Larry out there a lot. Yeah, Larry's been a follower of this show for a long time. I've been doing this show for 10 years. Took a little sabbatical there, but 10 years and maybe even longer than 11 years. It's hard to respond to all of them, folks, so I definitely try. Let's see. Hi, Vinny. I'm still here writing comments nobody reads. Dana Williams, well, I'm just reading that one. Let me see what else you got going on there, Dana. But I'm going to look back on your comments here and see if I can pick anything up. So just be patient. Sometimes, they go through so fast and we're doing the show, and I just don't see them all the time in real time. It's during the breaks I get to look, and whatever's happening at that moment I can see.
Were you allegedly there too?
Vinny and the rest of the guys. Diane Vitucci. I like it. Diane Vitucci. I got one more thing, Damon.
Sound like the blues at the America First Warehouse. Let me talk to you about our friends over at Birch Gold. This administration is trying to move mountains at the speed of light. However, when they're trying to right the country, they can't also take your personal finances into account. Well, you've got to do that, and that's why thousands of Americans are buying gold now from Birch Gold. Here are the facts. In the past 12 months, the value of gold has increased by 30%. Central banks are buying gold in record quantities, so demand doesn't seem to be subsiding. And, of course, the real reset that we've been telling you about right here is on the horizon, where BRICS nations are looking to unseat the U.S. dollar as the global reserve currency. But you can find peace of mind in gold, and Birch Gold makes it extremely easy to convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or you can even buy some to store in your home safe. All you got to do is text the word America, send it to 989898, and Birch Gold will send you a free information kit on gold. There's no obligation, only useful information. Birch Gold has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, tens of thousands of happy customers. Take control, protect your savings today. Text America to the number 989898. That's text the word America to the number 989898 and see if our friends from Birch Gold and gold itself is right for you if you're looking to protect your savings. Well, let me talk to you about Patriot Mobile. Think about this. Every dollar you spend is either supporting your values or working against them. In today's economy, where you spend your money matters. That's how we take back our country. Patriot Mobile is leading the way as America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. Switch today without sacrificing quality or service. You'll get exceptional nationwide coverage because unlike most budget wireless providers, Patriot Mobile has access to all 3 major U.S. networks. You can even add 2 numbers on 2 networks on 1 phone, something the big guys can't even do. Stay connected with flexible unlimited data plans to fit your lifestyle. These plans offer high-speed data, mobile hotspots, international roaming, device protection, and even internet backup. Here's the best part. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you're supporting faith, family, and freedom. If you believe in our First and Second Amendment rights, the sanctity of life, and you want to support our veterans, this is where you belong. Switching is simple. Keep your number, keep your phone, or you can upgrade. Patriot Mobile's 100% U.S.-based customers team will get you activated in minutes. Right now, go to patriotmobile.com/Rav. patriotmobile.com/RAV or call 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT to get a free month of service with the promo code RAV, R-A-V. Make the switch. Defend freedom with every call and text you make. That's right. That's patriotmobile.com. patriotmobile.com/RAV or call 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT. All right, live from Studio 6B, Sound Like the Blues right there. We are live Friday night at the America First Warehouse.
Oh, yeah.
Rick Delgato's here for the news. Vinny Mac's got some thoughts. Paul Nolan, Kevin Downey Jr. We've got, of course, a house full of Patriots here as well. Just let me know, Aaron, when you're ready. I did see this news also, the Supreme Court today. Did you see the Supreme Court actually accidentally leaked a couple of decisions? They put out a couple of decisions, both wins for Trump, by the way. Yep. Good day for Trump in the courts. Supreme Court, Appeals Court as well, said that the Appeals Court gave Trump a win on, what did they give him a win on? He got the Doge win from the Supreme Court and the Social Security, and he got the AP win in the court, the lower court, the appeals court, that said, no, he doesn't have to let you into the press room. There's no constitutional amendment that says that you have to be there.
So dumb.
Now let's see him get a win on the tariffs. You know, they blocked the tariffs still, right? They
this lunatic.
They stayed it. They didn't stop it.
Right.
They didn't.
Yeah, but then the next day they reversed that, so it was back on.
Right. I believe it's a forced halt indefinitely. So
besides those, the news I saw, it said Supreme Court decisions were accidentally leaked today. The Supreme Court leaked involved two cases. First, a decision rejecting a Republican bid to bar some provisional ballots in Pennsylvania, allowing votes rejected for technical reasons to stand. And then second, an Alabama appeal regarding Joseph Clifton Smith's execution, examining how courts assesses intellectual disability in death penalty cases. The court said there was the leak of these decisions was due to a software malfunction, but there's some skepticism that's persisting about whether it was truly accidental. And of course, we've been down this road before. We still don't know who leaked the Dobbs decision. So some weird things going on at the Supreme Court as they mistakenly release information about case decisions before they put them out. So, all right, let's go over to KDJ, Kevin Downey Jr. with another Patriot here at the America First Warehouse. KDJ, take it away.
Thank you, Big D. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Patriot Sarah. Sarah wants to talk about January 6th, which, okay. I'm ready. What's on your mind?
Well, you know, a common misconception is 4 American patriots died on January 6th. So even though President Trump got in and pardoned all but 14, and those people were commuted, is that there's 4 American families that haven't been made whole again, and their stories need to be told.
Roseanne Boylan.
Yes.
What happened to her?
You know, she was trampled by a stampede of people because the police were pushing people out of the tunnel. So the police caused that. But instead of the police providing first aid, which they are trained to do, Officer Lila Morris started beating Roseanne as she lied unconscious and unarmed.
I saw, and tell me if I'm wrong, I saw that officer beating her with not one but 2 different instruments. I think one broke. So the cop picked up another one and said, hey, she's not dead enough. What was up with that?
Yeah, it was a wooden walking stick that somebody had, a protester was using, and she picked it up and started to beat her in the face.
And they said she died of an Adderall overdose. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Now, did they really cremate her body before the family could get it?
Yes, they did. They cremated all 4 of them.
And they just said, well, they just sort of died. Nothing we did.
Wow. Yeah, so the medical examiner, it actually changed. First, they said it was an overdose of ADHD medication, which I don't know how you can overdose of that at a Trump rally. And she was 7 years sober from using drugs. And then the medical examiner changed it and said that she died of a stampede.
And what happened to, and was any officer arrested or even investigated on January 6th for what they did?
No, and actually Lila Morris was one of the 3 that was taken to the Super Bowl that year and honored for protecting the Capitol that day.
And what about Michael Byrd, the animal who shot Ashley Babbitt? What happened to him?
He's still walking free, and he murdered her on live TV.
Well, I don't know. She was 5'4", maybe 130 pounds. That's pretty scary when she's unarmed and on the other side of a door.
Well, and he admitted that he didn't even know what it was. He didn't know if it was a male or a female, and he just shot. And not only did he shoot and kill her, but he shot at other officers that were behind her.
You know what? I watched this. I'm a sort of a gun guy. I watched from every angle I could. He could have shot a zillion people behind her. There were cops behind her who did not feel the need to shoot her. What was up with that guy?
He's a lunatic and he needs to be in prison. He needs to be tried for murder.
And what happened? He got promoted, didn't he?
Yeah, not only that, they took him up and put him in basically witness protection, and he had a GoFundMe and basically created wealth off of this while her family has suffered. Her mother, Michelle Withoff, has done incredible things for the January 6th movement, really being a voice not only for Ashley and getting justice for her, but for all 1,600 January 6th defendants.
Now, let me ask you this. There's one particular J6 defendant. He's a really good-looking guy with a radio show who was never actually arrested, just investigated, because he happens to live on Long Island and there's way bigger fish to fry. Does he have anything to worry about, or is he clear too?
No, you're absolutely clear.
Drinks are on me. All right, back to you, Big D. Great job, Patriots era.
All right, KDJ. Well, the audience likes what they hear from Sarah and her story. They like to hear more. And we were lucky enough to meet Sarah and some other American patriots who were here backstage, and we talked a lot about their situation. And one of you guys said it's still to this day hard to believe that happened, and that happened. Well, we got to take a break. We'll talk about it when we get back. That happened in the country.
Yeah, biggest travesty.
These people were treated like this. All right, live from Studio 6B. More to do at the American First Warehouse right after this. 3 minutes. We're back.
That January 6th stuff is probably one of the lowest points I've seen in this
Were
country.
you on the show with us when we talked? I felt like that should be the number one target of this DOJ, because it's the low-hanging fruit. It's recently happened. It hasn't been stomped on by every intelligence agency, like ripping and redacting. And now let's get Pelosi on her coordinated efforts to false flag that entire operation.
I know they're looking at it.
And not just that, like, this is what every single Democrat hangs their hat on, that he's an insurrectionist and he tried to take over the country, he's a tyrant. All that narrative is so insane. I would love to see them chop that whole story up to bits. The 14,000 hours of video. Let's get it all out there. Let's release it to the public and just let all the online sleuths break apart every piece of it. Let everyone go to work on it.
I mean, I feel somewhat optimistic that because Kash Patel was involved, looking at that he's got information that they are looking at. I hope they undo that. But just in general, a travesty of justice.
So, Aaron, let's if Shane's going to join KDJ, come to me first so I can set it up, and then I'll throw it to him.
Are you getting is he next?
I hope so, yeah.
I hope so, yeah. But because
so, KDJ, take a little time here if you want.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
People will like this, yeah.
Hey, don't forget to mention your radio show, if you could.
No, please don't.
Don't forget that. Radio show.
That joke has run its course.
Yeah.
And then some.
Somehow or another, you kept making it work.
I'll beat a punchline.
We're just trying to help you out there, man.
Radio.
Oh, man. Yeah, we've got a great guest coming up, that I can tell you. Well, yeah. Guy we spoke to, KDJ's going to talk to him now.
Oh, okay.
A cool kid, too.
Guy's awesome. Wow.
That's what I went to do. And then I went to go talk to the New Life Crisis guy, because I used to know his his band.
Did you see my?
Yes, I did. I just saw it. Okay. But the band New Life Crisis, I used to work with those guys back. Mulcahy's Dublin pub, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, nice.
So I knew his brother. His brother had started the band.
Are they a metal band?
No.
Not
do
interested.
they do any Delbert?
They do zero Delbert, and then.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night at the American First Warehouse. Glad you're in, everybody. Lots more to do here. Last couple segments of the show. And we always appreciate you giving us a few hours of your weekdays, 8 to 10 p.m. right here, Real America's Voice. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday nights, 103.9 LI News Radio all over Long Island. Vinnie Mac is here. All the boys are here. We'll still go over some more news. But I was saying before, we were back in the green room before we came out, and we had the pleasure of meeting Sarah, who you just heard from with KDJ, and she's here with Shane, who you're going to hear from here in a second. And we just all had one of those moments where, even though we've all kind of, we know what happened, we know the situation, but it's still one of those things where you stop and you go, I can't believe this happened here.
Yeah, I mean, here's the obvious thing. Worst case scenario. Trespassing, government property, you get a fine and, 10 days or, a day, nothing. Usually it's just a fine. That's what should have happened here.
That's what should have happened.
These people, I mean, when we were talking, what really struck me when we were talking in the green room, they serve real time. In a real jail.
And they got designated as terrible things, which we're going to hear here right now.
Terrible things. I mean, I was just thinking, and I think I mentioned this to you, like, what would go through your head if your life was stopped over this thing, over, supporting the president or supporting the country and getting popped there for a year and a half, 2 years, 3.5 years? Imagine if that happened to any of us.
Yeah.
But it's not even that. It wasn't like it was, for most of these people, it was a quick, hey, we just happened to be, they said we walked through this way. Okay, we walked through that way.
They literally let them in on top of it.
And you literally get popped. What should have been a desk appearance ticket, having some experience in getting detained, desk appearance ticket, here you go, don't do that again, go see the judge, they'll tell you what to pay to fine.
These are the people deliberately staying between the velvet ropes.
Right.
Really? We're going to put him in jail for 40 months?
Let's get over to KDJ. He is with someone we had the pleasure to meet before this show. KDJ, take it away. Introduce who you're with. We got to get the mic. Well, we got no microphone on KDJ.
How's that? Is that better?
He's had too much Belvini. Kevin, all right, here we go. Take two, Kevin.
Thank you, Big D. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with a real American hero, a patriot. He got busted on J6. He's got a story. Please welcome Shane Jenkins. Shane Jenkins, sorry. Shane, a real pleasure, man. I had the pleasure and privilege of doing a shot with him before the show, and there's going to be a couple more afterwards. Shane, why don't you tell us your J6 story? Take it away.
Yeah, man. I did 1,418 days in prison. I did 32 months in the D.C. Gulag, 14 months in federal prison. I watched people die in prison. I was locked up with many amazing American men, Green Berets, Army Rangers, Marines, law enforcement, prison guards, people that served this country, offered up life and limb for this country, and went to January 6th and were persecuted and prosecuted to the umpth degree over their politics, not because of what they did, but because of what they represented.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, everyone's screaming about due process for illegal immigrant rapists. How is the due process situation for J6ers?
There was no due process. We were denied visitation with our family for 2 years in the D.C. jail. We were denied religious services. That means no chaplain, no communion, no chapel. We were denied haircuts for a year. We were denied, nail clippers for a year. So, yeah, basic human needs. We were denied basic human rights, and they're worried about some illegal human trafficker from another country, but they don't care about these men who offered up life and limb, people that were blown up by IEDs in Iraq, Afghanistan, hunted bin Laden. These people are American heroes, and they're worried about some scumbag illegal immigrant who has no right to be here and doesn't deserve due process. But they're...
That is sick. That is sick. Now let me ask you, how were the guards?
It was a challenge. It was a challenge. Because they labeled, so personally they labeled me a tier 1 anti-government extremist, which is Timothy McVeigh, Osama bin Laden, Ted Kaczynski, whoever they were.
Wow.
The people that raided my house were the head of the Joint Terrorism Task Force for the Houston FBI. These are people that would hunt down the worst of the worst. And at worst, I threw a stick at a police officer after I watched him beat a woman who was unconscious. Like, it wasn't...
Was that Roseanne Boylan?
Yeah, it was. I watched people be beat. I was beating myself from behind. I watched any number of things. We heard that Ashley Babbitt had been shot inside. We didn't know it was Ashley Babbitt at the time, but we heard she had been shot inside. We knew they were stealing the election, and enough was enough. And so I reacted out of anger. I did, but damn them for doing what they did to the American people.
That's right. Absolutely, absolutely. You were... I think this country treats POWs better than they treated our own people. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and Donald Trump called us the J6 hostages, and we were the hostages of a weaponized DOJ to the Biden regime. It was not because of what we did, it was because of our politics. And they didn't do anything to BLM or Antifa for the Summer of Love of 2020 and the $12 billion worth of damage and 12 people they killed and all these things. But whenever we get upset or they faked a riot to cover up a stolen election of 2020, and then we were the fruit of that, and we went to prison and we suffered because of it. But never will you ever meet a better group of men. I'm not saying me, but the men that I was locked up with in the DC jail, those men are heroes, and
yeah,
that's right.
Absolutely, baby. Absolutely. Now, did the guards put you in general population, or they keep you guys separate?
Yeah, so when in the DC jail, they had us isolated as the January 6th defendants. We were all together, so we got to bond. Like there was a lot of bad times. Like I told you, the things that they denied us, but there was a lot of times. Every 4th of July, every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, we would prepare meals. We would sit down and eat together, and the guards were blown away by our unity and our solidarity and our love for this country. I'll never forget being in the DC jail and looking out that window and watching the 4th of July fireworks through those bars, because I love this country. Many of my family members that preceded me were veterans, and I will never forget. I would do it all over again, but I love this country, and it was a beautiful thing to watch those fireworks through the bars.
Wow. And you know what, Shane? To the rest of the country, to MAGA especially, you're a hero, and I want to thank you. Let's have another drink. All right. Great job. All right, back to you, Big D.
All right, KDJ, amazing story with Shane. I'm not going to put words in Shane's mouth, but I think the thing that struck me is how realistic he was about when he talked to us backstage about, he, to a point he said, I probably should have gotten something because I, maybe made a mistake. And he was pretty open and upfront about it. But obviously what happened was just, and to many, was so inexcusable to the level and to the degree that they were mistreated and labeled as horrible human beings. Like you said, a tier one, like on par with Timothy McVeigh, on par with people who blew up buildings, who flew planes into buildings. I mean, just crazy stuff.
Yeah, well, look what they did with raids. They raided Trump's people for nonsense at 5 a.m. And they treated these people as the worst type of terrorists. This is why the system and these people need to be taken into account. The vile nature of what they did and the way they tried to make examples of people here for political reasons, is just astonishing to me that they have not been taken to task here. And Shane's story is probably consistent with a lot of other folks out there that Trump, which, by the way, the left went nuts when Trump pardoned all these people. Mm-hmm. But talk about a hero. That guy's the hero. Big time. So, and if he got elected any sooner, he would have pardoned them. But there's probably a couple of thousand stories like yours, which is why this is so, troubling and heartwarming at the same time to know what you went through.
I'm just glad to see we're going to see lawsuits now the government's got to be held accountable for what they did to these people. This is outrageous. And I have a quick story. I won't get into it in detail, but 5 members of the Proud Boys were convicted in connection with the January 6th riot. And they're suing the Department of Justice for, I believe it's $100 million lawsuit. It's been filed in the federal district court in Orlando, Florida. And it's going to, I think this is going to bring this back to light. I really hope this forces Kash Patel to really bring all the evidence out. I want every ounce of video footage from that day dissected, analyzed, and I want everything that Pelosi knows. I want all her family members, her crew, all that documentary team. I want every one of them subpoenaed and questioned, and let's lock them in the gulag.
Love to see that.
And I just want to. I just want to ask you and Delgato, to that point, are you going to believe Kash if he actually does that?
What do you mean?
Like releases?
Why wouldn't I?
Well, because you guys are a little iffy on Kash right now, aren't you?
No, not at all.
On his truthfulness
I'm iffy on,
when it comes to other things.
No, I'm just smart enough to know that he's parsing words. He needs to say what he needs to say, and that's fine. I get it.
Did you see him on Rogan today about?
Yes, I did.
Oh, what'd you think of that?
I thought, how interesting that is.
I'll bet you did.
Very interesting, especially when he revealed the previous attempt that nobody knew about.
Yeah.
Which was interesting.
Say what that is.
But
because
basically,
that's a big deal.
Right.
Epstein had tried to take his life before, and Joe Rogan
No
did
idea.
Kevin had something to say, and I'll get right to you in a second. But Joe Rogan did a very good job. Joe Rogan played the part of all of us who pushed back on how we got here.
Right.
And he really did push back on him. And Kash Kash is pretty much all in on what he feels. He says he's seen everything. He's going to release as much as he can. But Joe Rogan pushed back very hard. But one thing that Joe Rogan read, that I don't know if he realized it when he read it, he said the previous time he tried to kill himself, and Kash stopped him and said, "Joe, stop." He said, "Read that line again."
Right.
And Joe said, the first time Epstein tried to kill himself, and he stopped and went, "What?" He goes, "The first time?" He says, "Correct. He tried to do this before. Did you know that?" And Rogan said, "No." And he said, "What percentage of the American people you think know that?" And I was thinking, well, I didn't know that. That's for sure. And you said you didn't know it.
I didn't know it. But now thinking about it, Paul, because let's face it, if they knew this, they knew the potential was there. What do we have to do to get this guy to kill himself?
Yeah,
they set the stage for him.
Watch.
Right. Push him to the point, and then, make it perfectly, what do you call it? Make it as easy as possible for him to do what we need him to do without us having to do it. But meanwhile, we're pulling the strings.
But speaking of Kash, though, I believe that J6 is not above his pay grade. I think Epstein's way above his pay grade. That is the upper echelon of all the elite, the highest level intelligentsia there is. Like, we're talking about Mossad, MI6, the CIA, and at the highest level, the most prominent players in global politics. I mean, the string pullers, they're all involved. It's a different animal than Nancy Pelosi. She's low-hanging fruit by comparison. So I'm okay with, I don't have to believe, if I don't believe one thing, doesn't mean I don't believe everything. So I'm not that linear.
KDJ, I don't know if you wanted to say something about Shane or to this, but go ahead.
Oh, you know what? I want to say I didn't see any violence at all on January 6th. The closest I saw a bunch of riot cops lining up, and some guy older than I am went over and said, "You didn't do anything against Antifa," and he pushed one, and then a bunch of Trumpers ran in and said, No, we don't do that. That's an Antifa thing. That's the closest I saw to any violence at all. I'm telling you, the cops started it.
All right, we'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up live from Studio 6B on a Friday night at the America First Warehouse. We'll wrap it up right after this. Kevin, when you were there,
you went to watch Trump's speech.
Yes.
And after the speech, what kind of happened? Was it, I mean, the narrative I've heard is people were walking around and you just kind of walk that direction?
We're doing what?
We walked peacefully in.
Oh, with KG did, yeah.
To the Capitol. Didn't see any violence at all. The only thing that struck me as weird was walking through a parking lot. I went, why is there no fence around a parking lot outside the Capitol?
Well, that's a pretty obvious thing when you have an event
What do you
right
need,
next
Harry?
to the Capitol.
Harry's
Right?
doesn't have his headphone
Yeah.
on, so.
That was weird.
Harry, she can't talk to you if you don't have that on.
What's up? What do you want?
Harry, coming through.
Harry.
What do you want?
Boy, he's talk with Harry about. Could you please encourage
What's up?
her?
What do you want?
Don't go ahead to help her.
Harry will be
What do you
cruising
want?
at
She's terrific.
5,000 feet. Little bumpy ride coming here, folks.
He's like the old crusty stewardess. Yeah, well, he reaches over, hits the button. What do you want?
You got somebody, Ken?
Put ham on 5, held the mayo.
Oh.
He's wearing my comedy t-shirt. I'll make it funny, trust me.
All right. We're recruiting them all.
Randy Carl.
Harry, this is Mission Control.
What
What are we talking about?
I'm going to ask you where you got my
We'll goof it on Harry because he's walking around. He's supposed to be running the floor here, and he's not wearing his headphones.
Whatever you want. All right. I'm going to stand right here.
Teresa, I gave a shout out for Rhonda.
And then you said you wanted to
Did Rhonda hear it?
And that also had a side effect of coughing? Yeah.
Oh, did she hear it or no?
I'm so choked up with that. Oh.
After you stopped it? But
Me too, man.
Rhonda.
He's a real patriot. He's a real man.
I got.
Is she watching on social or on?
I was there.
Of course.
100%. Yeah, baby. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I have a very patriotic gentleman sitting right here. Carl, I call him Krabby Carl because he listens to what radio show every morning?
KDJ.
That's right, the KDJ show. Look at his shirt, though. If alcoholism is an illness, why can't I call in drunk to work? And look at the website, KevinDowneyJr.tv. That's amazing. Look at this T-shirt. Man, I wish I could get a T-shirt like that. You can. Hit me up after the show. We can do that. Krabby Carl, a real pleasure. I always say it's a celebrity sighting when he calls it. Krabby Carl, how do you feel about Trump, the job he's doing, everything going on? Where do you stand?
I think he's the best president we've ever had, this country's ever had, ever. And I'm really upset about the Elon thing, but I think they should just walk away from each other and just let it go. Why keep? Just stop.
I think it's a sort of like a high school girl thing. Oh yeah, well you said, well you went to Epstein files.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Just stop.
I think right now, second term Trump, I love the first term. I think second term Trump is the best it's ever going to be. It's the best it's ever been in my life. What do you think, Krabby Carl?
I thought you were running for president next.
Nah, apparently I'm a domestic violent extremist.
Elon's going to try for it next.
Yeah. Elon's going to try for it? You think he's going to run?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what he's pulling. I think he's going to try to run for president.
He mentioned starting another party. You think he's going to do it?
Possibly. I wouldn't doubt he can.
He's got the money. The ketamine party with Elon Musk running. Krabby Carl, I love your shirt. Thank you so much for coming on. Let's kick it back to Big D and the boys. Great to see you, my friend.
All right, Kevin Downey Jr., host of the Kevin Downey Jr. Show with Krabby Carl here.
Oh, man. This news is going to make Carl a little more crabby. Elon Musk can't run for president. He's not a natural-born citizen.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carl.
Well, Kevin can't either. He's got a radio show.
I tell
How the
you
hell
what,
is he
I
gonna
wouldn't
run
be
for president?
surprised if his party is an AI-run party. That's where I wouldn't be surprised if he's going for that.
I mean, the whole
direction.
third-party thing's a joke. I mean, come on. People have talked about it's not happening. So, I mean, it's just people continue to bring it up like it's not happening.
The RNC and DNC have got it locked down. No one can get in unless you're in their club.
Yeah, it's just not happening.
You can't even get into the GOP unless they want you in.
I know.
Yeah, unless you want to spend too much. Let's get around to everybody here real quickly. Delgato, I feel like we haven't done a ton of headlines. What else is on your headline?
No, we haven't done a ton. I'm not sure if I should do a headline because there's something else I'd like to get in, but that's okay.
That's fine. Do that.
What? Which
I'm
one?
sure people like to talk about aliens, so go ahead.
No, I was going to say that, of course, Damon was babyfied last week or so.
Oh, my God.
And it was a wonderful rendition from Real Prince Doll. Well, people have been claiming that, how come Delgato hasn't been babyfied? Well, Real Prince Doll came through today.
You're setting up your own clip like
Yes,
this?
I'm setting up my own clip. I have to do it because nobody else will.
Well, Kevin's got a radio show. I don't understand how you can do this. Self-promotion.
So, I just want a tip of the hat to Real Prince Doll for putting together his own version of a What Even Is That? The babyfied version, and featuring a special appearance by Damon. Baby Damon. Check this out. Here's cut number 5. Check this out.
Got the opening, too.
Yeah. But we put on a damn good show. Speaking of the War Machine.
Check out the T-shirt.
I love the InfoWars.
Yeah.
Civil unrest, strategies, organized protest tactics, and government disruption methods. Numbers don't lie. Politicians do.
Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
They are the real-life version of a Bond villain.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
We demand perp walks.
Between Nikki, Ginger, me and my license, Paradise, we managed to really it all up.
I'm going to grab some of them beaver nuts. Trump nuggets. Everybody volunteered to go to Ukraine. Why? Because they had stunning women and not enough men. Chat, live in the chat. What do you think, Damon?
Good for nothing. Absolutely good for nothing.
What the hell is even that?
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah, so Real Prince Doll, congratulations. Thank you.
That was great.
That was hilarious. You're hired.
That is fantastic. Wow, very good. All right, Big Mac, anything else on your
you
agenda?
follow that.
You got any videos?
Oh my God! Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to follow. First of all, following Shane, that's a very difficult, and you as a baby, that's even quite adorable. Yeah, yeah.
I was right.
So I guess what I wanted to talk about is a pretty serious subject. As an adult, I'm going to talk about this. The enemy that we see with China.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we've been following a few little nuggets that have come through, but there's a lot of information now that says this fentanyl thing was not just drug trafficking. This fentanyl thing was about a very long process of eliminating citizens in this country and killing them.
100%.
This was not just trafficking drugs for money, because sometimes it's packaged that because of the Mexican cartels and all that kind of stuff. Secondly, we've got this killer fungus coming in here. They were trying to kill our plants and all of our farms. This is not a small thing. This is wiping out a food chain within our country. And then the last piece is Iran just ordered ballistic missile ingredients from China. What is happening here? I feel like the world is going crazy. China has stepped forward. Putin, Russia, bad news, bad people, not our biggest enemy. Iran and all that other stuff with nuclear stuff, we can take them out. The Israelis will. They're bad, not our biggest enemy. These people really want to hurt us, and they're doing it in a subversive way. And I think it's about time Trump probably deals with them in a much more confrontational manner, because they are literally trying to kill our people. And they have, quite effectively, by the way. I don't know if anybody knows people that have died from fentanyl overdoses. We had someone here last week that died of a fentanyl overdose. It's easy to die of a fentanyl overdose, by the way. Easy. You don't even know it's in there. This is why they do it.
And the prime target is what? Young
adults.
Young men.
Yeah, young men. So they're, but if this is a motivation, how much of a bigger enemy can you be? I mean, simple as that.
I think we're at war now.
We're at a cyber war for sure. But
Chinese killed 320,000 Americans with fentanyl just under Joe Biden. That's more than we lost in almost, I think, every war.
Yeah.
I think maybe World War II we came close. And I don't just, if you had accidents, disease, and whatnot, World War II was worse. But killed in action, I think it's less than how many people have died from fentanyl in the Joe Biden era.
And I think that's a great point, because my last point, and I'll turn it over to you. Last point is that, but what we're not identifying is that they're killing our people from a warfare standpoint. We're identifying it as they're ODing on drugs. It's the wrong narrative, and that's why nothing's really happening here.
Then think about the economic consequences. Since Clinton got in office, between NAFTA and all the trade agreements that essentially outsourced America to China and their cheap labor, and it's modern day mercantilism, and we're now a country that produces nothing.
Well, Trump's changed that.
Well, let's.
You know what? The next couple of years are going to be a boom.
So.
That's it.
All right, as always, I want to thank the guys on the show: Paul Nolan, Kevin Downey Jr., Rick Delgato, Vinnie Mac. I want to thank Harry on the highway for running everything behind the scenes. Of course, Aaron and Fran, couldn't do it without them, as always. And I want to thank everybody here at the America First Warehouse on a Friday night. Joe the Box, his entire staff, and of course, most of all, you, the live from Studio 6B audience. Have a great weekend, everybody. Hope you enjoy it. We'll be back on Monday, 8 p.m., back in the studio, right here live from Studio 6B. Have a great one, everybody. We'll see you Monday.